When students are sexually assaulted or harassed on a college campus, they often turn to the school's Title IX office to investigate.
But any day now, the Trump administration is expected to announce major changes to how those investigations are handled, and it already has survivors of sexual abuse crying foul. 7 investigator Ross Jones is here now with a closer look. Ross.
Glenda, Dave, the Trump administration says these changes will balance the scales of justice. But survivors of abuse say the only effect they'll have is discouraging victims from coming forward.
If everything is harassment, then nothing is.
Education Secretary Betsy DeVos is promising to change the way that claims of sexual assault are investigated on college campuses. The current system is unfair, DeVos says, benefiting accusers over the accused. She's promising an overhaul of the entire Title IX system, and Congresswoman Elissa Slotkin is trying to stop her.
It was clear that this would be harder. It would make it harder for young women to come forward.
Since taking office last year, Slotkin has fought the changes DeVos is proposing, even introducing legislation in December to block them from taking effect. One of the changes she's most concerned about would limit which assaults are the responsibility of a school.
If an assault happened 50 feet off campus, it was now not going to be considered a legitimate Title IX case.
Only harassment or assaults taking place on campus or at a university-sponsored event would be a school's responsibility, according to DeVos. Slotkin says that could have prevented MSU from investigating a 2014 Title IX claim against Larry Nassar, filed by MSU student Amanda Tomashow. She was molested at Nassar's off-campus office.
What Betsy DeVos was saying is now Amanda Tomashow's Title IX case would not be legitimate, because it happened just off campus.
DeVos also wants to change the definition of sexual harassment. Today's guidelines call it unwelcome conduct of a sexual nature, but under DeVos's proposal, the conduct would need to be so severe, pervasive, and objectively offensive that it denies a person access to the school's education program or activity.
I'm not sure if the proposal to raise the bar does anything other than exclude a bunch of potential harassment cases.
And the proposed changes would also allow an accuser to be cross-examined by the person they're accusing, which Slotkin said would only re-traumatize a victim.
Someone could potentially have perpetrated a sexual assault on a woman, and then the next day or a few days later, he gets to cross-examine her.
I don't care how difficult it is to face somebody, but that is called the justice system and due process of law.
Deb Gordon is a civil rights attorney who's represented students on both sides of Title IX complaints. While Gordon doesn't agree with everything DeVos is proposing, she says being allowed to face your accusers is just common sense.
The schools were so busy and anxious to wave a flag, we protect victims, that they were willing to look aside from well-established law of what rights a student has before he is kicked out of a state university.
DeVos's rule changes would also raise the standard needed to find someone guilty. Right now, a student can be held responsible if only 51% of the evidence supports the accuser's claim. Under the proposed changes, schools could use the much greater burden of proof, clear and convincing evidence, before finding someone guilty.
It's really sad that bad things are happening, but no matter what, the justice system has to come first.
So just when will we know exactly what the final rules look like? Well, that's anyone's guess. After first promising to roll out the new regulations by the end of 2019 and then by January, the Department of Education now isn't saying when that rollout will begin. So any day now we expect these rules will come down, and they may look exactly like what we just described. They may be slightly different, but big changes are coming very soon.
Elissa Slotkin with her bill, I mean, can that pass the Democratic-controlled House and maybe stop this?
Yeah, I mean, it's got a good chance in the House, exactly, but the Republicans control the Senate. We saw what happened with the impeachment there. I think that would be a very difficult battle for them to pass it there.
All right, Ross, thank you.